Hey everyone, I'm Samak Agarkar and welcome to Agak Media Academy. This is the 22nd tutorial in Render tutorial series for beginners. So in the last tutorial we saw shading all the shaders inside of shading panel right here. We saw all of these and now what we are going to look at is the textures that we can use. So let's again connect the BSDF, principal BSDF to this because now we are going to look at sorry, the um, textures. So in the textures panel, here we have some different textures that are possible. Multiple images so that we can put up multiple images, image sequence so that we can click connect a image sequence, brick, checkers, environment, gradient, IES, image texture we have already seen. We use that image texture inside our shading tutorial. I don't know the number, but we used a PBR texture from internet and we used the image texture there to give it. Right, then we have magic texture, moose grave, noise, point density, sky texture, Voronoi texture, wave, and white noise. Let's start with brick texture. Now brick texture is basically a brick. So this is how a brick texture looks like. Of course now we can see that these things are not working. Why? Because we have not put up the let's again go back to the EV renderer because cycles is really slow. Good, this is almost real time. EV is almost real time engine, so that's really great. Now of course these things are not working quite well because we have not put up the mapping nodes, texture coordinate and mapping nodes. So to do that, if we have in the edit, in preferences, if you have in the add-ons, if you have what is called as a node wrangler, this node wrangler add-on, if it is tick mark, if it is not tick mark, please take it mark, please just enable it. If it is enabled, just select this texture and control T will give the mapping, this texture coordinate node and a mapping node, right? And we don't want the generated, we want the object. So as soon as we put up the object right here, okay, it's not working just right now, just have a patience. In UV it works, right? As soon as we put up the UV, it works. Then here, from here, of course you can change the scale and stuff like that. Just from here we have already seen the um, working of this texture, this mapping nodes, right, in some tutorial, right? Just look up to that tutorial if you want to see what's being done there. So this is our brick texture. Of course, to give some different colors, you can here we have three different colors we can choose from: color 1, color 2, and mortar. Mortar is the lines between the bricks. So you can just put up some, let's put up some colors right here. This brown, the other brown, and gray, because I've never seen something like this. Now it almost looks like a brick texture, right? I don't know, let's go to, no, I don't want to delete. Let's go to the material preview mode. So this is what it looks like, and in the rendered mode this is what it looks like. Of course we have not played with the this thing here, the roughness here. Roughness is right now at here. We can just use in the factor to the roughness panel so that the roughness is automatically added to it. Now here you can see some roughness is being added. The black portions are really very rough, and the color portions are very soft. So just simple things that we can do to create roughness map. Of course you can if you have a roughness map just right here, you can add a color ramp node just right here to change the positions of this. So maybe I can just use something like this. It's not working just right here because we are using factor, but if we are using color then it would work really nice. So now here you can see it's working completely nice. Now you have control over how much roughness and how much specularity you want in the material. So this is really very cool, right? So this is our brick texture. Now I'm not going to show you the same things on all the textures. We are just going to hook up to the textures. Now right now I'm using the checker texture, and let's look at what checker textures looks like. So checker textures is something like this. I'm just going to scale it up to, let's say, 10, 10 and 10, so that you can see the checker texture right here. Checker texture is just black and white boxes, and this is what checker texture is. So you can create, different things with by using this. Now let's use some another texture. Let's use not we are just leaving the environment texture for now. I'll be showing you the environment texture in some other tutorial. Gradient texture. Let's use the gradient texture. Let's just delete this checker texture and vector to vector. Now gradient, you can see the gradient is happening right here. Of course we are not using anything here, so there is no gradient that we can see just right now, but yeah, this is what gradient texture is supposed to do. So now this spherical gives spherical gradient to it. You can see spherical gradient to it. If we just use easing, then there will be something easing gradient to it. Here you can see there will be no harsh shadows and stuff like that. So let's not work with that. Let's go to the next IS texture. We are leaving it. We have already seen image texture. Let's look up to the magic texture. What magic does this provide? So magic texture is just, something weird. It is something like this. It's not nothing really great. It's just, I don't know why they call it magic texture. I don't see any magic in it, but it's just that it looks great. So some random colors and random things that can be done. So depth of one gives some different uh, texture to it, different colors to it, and just stuff like that. I have no idea how it calculates it, but yeah, it looks good, so you can use it to create some awesome textures or awesome patterns, as you can see right here, right? No idea how it works, but okay, we have seen the magic texture. Now let's go to the Musgrave texture. Let's hook it up to here. Wait for a minute. And this is what Musgrave texture is. It's just something like clouds, but not exactly clouds. Just like clouds, but it's not clouds, so there is no way to understand what's actually happening. But yeah, basically we have black and white things going on. We can just increase the detail or have zero details, and zero details makes it completely black, of course. Details, we can have some dimensions right here, right here we can have some dimensions. We have this something really weird which I have no idea how it works, but it works for some reason. I have not understood the actual some any use cases of Musgrave, but yeah, it is there. These are all generated textures. These are not something which are saved inside of Blender. These are generated textures. Musgrave noise, as I've already told you in the previous video, that noise is my favorite because it just creates noise, a lot of noise. Here you can see the noise, right? This is one of my favorite textures because this is helpful in so many use cases, and it's really very good. I just like the noise uh, texture. So this is what noise is used for. Let's look at some other texture. Let's look at the point density texture. This is also some texture which is really very difficult to showcase or demonstrate on a video, but let's see what happens, and let's try to understand what's happening. So of course you can see here that nothing is happening. If I just select this plane, there's, there is nothing much happening just right now, so I have no way to tell you what's really happening with the point density. So let's delete it, let's move on. Sky texture is used for sky, so right now I'm not going to show you how exactly it works, because we have no sky right now. So okay, not a sky. So Warner texture is my second most favorite texture after noise texture, because it is really cool. You can see it just right now what happens with the Warner texture. This is Warner texture. This is really great for creating patches. Of course, color gives color patches. If I just use distance, then it will be black and white patches, gray patches, right? So this is really great, and it's really helpful in so many ways. We have some different functionalities inside of Warner textures which create different patterns. So smooth F1, F1, F2. I have no idea what these um, uh, calculations are, these functions are, but they have different functions. As you can see, some mathematical models are being developed inside. Oh wow, thunder. But and you can use these Voronoi textures to create some awesome uh, materials, awesome textures just right here, right? So this is one of my favorites, my second favorite texture inside of Blender, right? Now let's move on to other. Wave, as the name suggests, gives waves, creates waves. Colors will create colorful waves, but so these are waves. Basically right now we have a sine wave, but if you just turn it to a saw wave, then it would be saw wave. These are mathematical models, so if you have some knowledge of what a sine wave is and what a saw wave is, then you would understand what's actually happening right here. Rings will create rings, bands will create bands, as the name suggests. Here you can, scale it up or scale it down, and you can distort it to create some, overlapping between the bands and stuff like that. You can create, you can just play with the details and the detail scales and stuff like that to create really awesome textures. So this is what a wave texture is. Let's look at the last texture, that is the white noise. Now, as the name suggests, white noise will give just white noise, nothing else. So this is white noise. You can see some white noise happening there. There are these dimensions which are really difficult to understand what's actually happening, but here you can increase the width of it and stuff like that to see some noise is there on the I don't know if you can see it or not, but there is just noise on the uh, on the uh, object. Sorry, I missed the word there. But as you can see, this is so plain, but this is not plain. This is having some white noise. So that is what white noise is used for. So if you want to create some uh, different textures onto the uh, model, then you can use white noise also. So basically we have seen all of these textures. Let's end up with my most favorite, which is the noise texture. So we have now seen all the textures that are possible inside of Blender. So of course, to give it some roughness, right now there is no roughness map, so you can just put it up to roughness map, and there will be some roughness occurring onto the object as well, right? So here you can see some roughness occurring here. If I just increase the scale, if I just decrease the scale, then you might be able to look at the uh, now you can look at the roughness maps, right? The blacks are giving off reflections and the whites are not giving off the reflections. So these are one of the most used textures inside of Blender, and this is how you can create different materials and different textures onto your 3D models. So that is it for this video. This video also became very long, of 14 minutes or 15 minutes or so, but it's good. Okay, we learned a lot. this is not something, these two videos, the last video and this video, is not something which you should by heart. You just need to know what these different terms means, what is noise, what is Musgrave, what is Voronoi, and just play with different functionalities and the handles that are provided onto the nodes, so that you can have an understanding of what's actually happening and how you can create different textures yourself. So that is it for this video, and I hope you like this video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't yet subscribed to this YouTube channel, please do subscribe. Share this video with your friends and family so that they can also learn to create awesome 3D models and animation inside of Blender. Blender is a free software, so it is really very cool. If you have any comments or advice, please write down in the comment section below. See you in the next tutorial. Till then, keep smiling and keep learning.